Hola students, welcome back to another video. We're still focusing on de viaje. Ahora vamos a repasar. Let us review. In the previous class, you learned how to state what different persons did during their last vacation. So we conjugated the verbs in the preteritense, otherwise known as the past tense. You can watch my previous video to learn how to do this. Now let us continue. Now, how many of you know the song Lockdown by Coffee?
Where will we go when the quarantine thing done and everybody touch?
So, in her song, she asked a very important question. She said, where will we go when the quarantine thing done, right? So that is our focus for this section of the lesson. We are going to be talking about where we will go on our next vacation as well as what we will do. Yes, so we are now focusing on el tiempo futuro, the future tense. Please make note of this. So we will need the phrase durante las próximas vacaciones. Durante las próximas vacaciones. And this means during the next vacation. Now, when you're talking in the future tense in Spanish, that is when you're stating things that you will do or what other persons will do, guess what? We do not remove the AR, ER, or the IR from the verb. We leave the verb just as how it is, and then we add these endings. I have even more good news. The AR, ER, and IR ending verbs, they share the same endings for the future tense in Spanish. Remember, we are not going to take off the AR, ER, or the IR. We're just going to attach these endings. Let us examine this table. Now you will notice that I have the endings in the middle. Whenever you want to say, I will do something, then we would add an e to the end of the verb. If you want to say you will do something, we would add as. If you want to say he will do something or she will do something or you, the polite version will do something, we will add a. If you want to say we will do something, then you would add amos. And if you want to say they will do something, then you will add an. Now listen carefully, students. Remember, do not take off the AR, ER, or the IR from the verb. Leave the verb alone, and all you have to do is to attach these endings. So let us look on the examples. I have the examples bailar, which means to dance, beber, which means to drink, and escribir, which means to write. So we want to conjugate these verbs in the future tense to say I will dance, you will drink, we will write, etc. So all we're going to do is this, students. Remember, we're not taking off the AR, ER, or the IR. We're leaving the verb just as how it is, and then we're going to add the e, as, a, amos, an. So let's look at what happens when we add these endings to the verbs. If you look carefully, all I did was to attach the endings. So when I added the e, that is I will do something, notice I ended up with bailaré, beberé, and escribiré. If you look carefully, you will note that I did not remove the endings from the verbs. All I did was to attach the e. And I followed through with this method with the rest of the conjugation. So you leave the verb as is, and then you just attach the endings. So remember, students, as long as you're saying that you will do something, she will do something, he will do something, etc., it doesn't matter what you want to say that you will do. Just remember, you leave the verb alone, just as how it is, and then you attach these to the end of the verbs. Let us do some examples together. Durante las próximas vacaciones, yo nadaré con delfines. What do you think this means?
Under the sea, under the sea.
Durante las próximas vacaciones, tú subirás montañas. What does this one mean?
Climbing, 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 climbing.
Durante las próximas vacaciones, nosotros leeremos libros.
Gotta keep reading, 'cause this book's gonna be a good book.
So notice, students, all I did was to attach the endings. I did not remove the AR, ER, or the IR. We also have a few irregular verbs in the future tense. Yes, but don't you worry. The irregular verbs in the future tense, they have the same endings just like the regular verbs. It's just that we have to write their stem first before we attach the endings. These irregular verbs are like those persons who they don't want to shake your hand before wearing a gloves. At the end of the day, they are still shaking your hand. It's just that they're putting on the gloves first. So with the irregular verbs, we have to write their stems first and then we attach the endings. I have a handout with all the irregular verbs and their stems. Just remember that it's the same endings that we just added to the regular verbs. It's just that for these verbs, we have to write their stems first. So just remember, whenever you want to say that you will do something or other persons will do something, all you need to do is to attach the endings I gave you directly to the verb. However, if the verb is irregular, you have to write the stem first and then you attach the endings. Your activity is posted on Google Classroom. I hope you wrote notes. Adios.